Hey everybody, how's everybody doing this afternoon, this morning, this evening, depending on where you are? And my green screen is messed up, but there we go. We'll fix it a little bit. Anyway, how's everybody doing? I hope you're having a wonderful day. This month, October, is Mental Health Assessment Awareness and Depression Assessment Awareness. That's a tongue-tier month here in the U.S. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And I've got a very special guest. Y'all know him. Mike Collins will be with us. But before we get started, I want to give a disclaimer and a trigger warning. First of all, the trigger warning. We are talking about mental health issues. We are talking about depression, and if this is going to trigger you, or if you have a hard time talking about it or a hard time hearing it talked about, please click out of this video. I love you, and I had rather not cause any harm to anybody or upset feelings to anybody. And also a disclaimer, this video is not meant to diagnose, not meant to take the place of therapy, not meant to take the place of medication. This is just information. And as soon as the video is over, I will go back and update the intro because I was having issues with it beforehand. And I will have all the crisis hotline numbers and everything that you need for the US, for the UK, and for Canada. And we'll go from there. So I'm going to bring Mike up and then we'll get going. Hey, Mike, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Very good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you so much for being on the show. One other thing that I wanted to say that I didn't say in the disclaimer and trigger warnings is one major thing I want to get out of this video is hopefully that you'll understand that there's no shame in talking, and we need to come together and break the stigma, break the negativity associated with mental health. It is no different than having a broken arm, a broken leg, a messed up back. It's just a different part of the body. Yeah. There's no shame in getting help. Okay. Now, would you like to start off with anything?
First of all, that great intro. I loved it.
Thank you.
You know, the imagery and it was very thought-provoking. it started to get me to think about kind of mental health and depression and kind of my experience, and and how in the community I grew up in, a West Indian black community, how it's a taboo thing and something not to be talked about. And it was, the association with mental health was being in a mental institution and being in a straitjacket. So
Right.
very extreme images and connections with mental health, that I was brought up with. So until my father passed away 7 years ago was when it came to light of the importance of mental health and mental well-being and anxiety and depression and things like this, because I never really thought about them, because as I said, in growing up, if you emotions, I was told to basically suck it up and deal with it and just get on, and life goes on, and not dwell and cry and process how you're feeling, just get on with it.
And that's the same way I was here.
Mm,
And it's whenever my doctor had recommended, because I suffered severe depression and had recommended medication for depression, I fought tooth and nail, but I was so embarrassed. I was so ashamed. And I already had people calling me crazy, snap out of it, and stuff like that. And let me say, I'm 50 years old. So whenever I was a teenager, it was a very taboo subject.
yeah,
And it was an embarrassment for parents to have a child
definitely.
that needed help. And I was an adult before I I got help that I needed.
Mm,
And once I did, it was a whole new world
yeah,
that opened up, because I mean, I had the self-harm thoughts and actions and stuff like that, and I had nobody to talk to.
yeah,
And I am such a big advocate now on there's no shame in talking. There's no shame in getting help. You're worth it. You are worth it. Doesn't matter what anybody else says. You take care of you and you are worth it. And there are a lot of factors that influence your mental health and depression.
yeah.
And that, I mean, some of them, I've got my notes written down so I didn't get too tongue tied. Malnutrition is a big influence in mental health too, because if you're not getting the correct vitamins and nutrients and everything that you need and that your body needs, your mind needs that too. And it will suffer just like brittle bones or just like other issues will. Um, You really need to be physically active every day, even if it's 10 to 15 minutes a day. Get out and walk around the yard or walk circles around your house. Take in some vitamin D, smell the fresh air, get out. And I know with what we've all been through on this panoramic for the last
Mm,
year and a half, it's been hard to do that. And that has caused a major issue. I know here in the US, it is the numbers have gone up so much for depression, for the thoughts of not wanting to be here and other thoughts associated with that.
yeah.
And
Same here. Same here in the
that's
UK.
what I was going to ask you. Has it been,
Yeah, it's been the
what are
same.
the numbers like that in general?
It's gonna. I should have checked it before I come on because I don't know off the top of my head, but I know it definitely went up, and it was quite worrying. So we definitely, there's a big emphasis on getting help and you know um, trying to support people and the helplines out there which you've got, which I shared with you. So that was a big deal over that time because we noticed that domestic violence that went up, that shot up as well. breakup of marriages.
That's what I was going to
Separating
ask
from
you, because the
partners.
divorce rate went up
Yep.
quite a bit here.
It all went up. And the mental health cases, and the support for mental health, they were very stretched over that whole period, and still are. People are still struggling and still
They are
trying.
here too. I mean,
trying
I
to
have
help.
Freckles on my show sometimes, and she is a psychotherapist, and she has talked about the lack of staff and the increase of patients, and it's hard here for a lot of people.
Definitely.
Were y'all able in the UK to do telemed visits with doctors during the lockdowns?
I think it was mainly over the phone.
Yeah, it
It was
was here
it was
too.
just they were just talking. You'd explain your symptoms to a nurse, and then depending on how serious, then it would be communicated to a doctor, and then they'll tell you whether you needed to go into an A&E, or or see your doctor, book an appointment. But we did do it here. Yeah, that was a big deal, definitely.
With me being an established patient, and my mom was living at the time, and she was an established patient because of her Alzheimer's
Yeah.
and everything. And we saw the same doctor. So what he would do would be stagger our appointments. That way we did it all by phone, and he would talk to both of us each time he called. So it was like every 2 weeks, because the numbers had gone up so high and everything.
Yeah, I just done a check. Over 2/3 of adults with mental health problems reported that their mental health got worse during the pandemic. More than 2/3 of adults. So it just shows the increase. Yeah, it was pretty demanding on organizations like Mind we have in the UK that help with mental health support in regards to mental health and depression and anxiety. So it definitely picked up a big deal, more than over 2/3. So
I need to apologize to my chat. My comments were not lighting up. So let me go through and welcome everybody into the chat. We've got AT2. He says, hey, y'all. Tenneke Headhunter says, hey, y'all.
hey,
Tenneke, let me ask you a question, because I keep getting asked and I forget to ask you. Where did the Headhunter's name come from? So just let us know. I was just asked. I'm going to drop the link real quick, too, if y'all want to come up, and I'll finish welcoming everybody. Hello, Elise. How are you? Mike, Elise wants to know if you're losing weight.
if I'm losing weight, I wish. No.
We've got Pam. That made you laugh. That's good. We've got Pam's opinion. Hey, Pam. Paranormal Witch. Willow, I'm glad you're here. Queen Paradise. Hey, darling. I'm glad you're here.
Cool names.
We got some good ones.
Tell me about it.
82 says, welcome Mike to the show. Yes, please. Angie, my sister's here.
Hey, Angie.
Okay, Queen Paradise says, very well needed. We are near a great depression in this world. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being here and sharing with us. Willow's had Paranormal Witch has had depression for a long time, and it's a struggle to do things. I try to be motivated. Yet whenever you are in that depression, and I suffered with it my whole life, and I didn't know that with having celiac disease, my body does not produce serotonin.
Yeah.
So I never knew that. I was undiagnosed till 2007. I was 37 then.
Wow.
So, but, and that's actually when they treated my depression. And then it was many years later that I was diagnosed as bipolar, because you have to have at least one manic episode to be diagnosed as bipolar. And I never thought, even though I had my psychology degree and I had learned these diagnoses, I just thought I was a bundle of energy.
Yeah.
It did not dawn on me this is a manic phase until it was getting to where I was going 2 days without sleeping, 3 days without sleeping, and it was not due to medication or intake of anything else. And I asked my doctor, I said, look, I cannot sleep. I cannot slow down. And as I described it, he diagnosed me as bipolar. And I was, again, even then, I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. And I got, whenever my husband and I managed a state park, we would do events to help out the community. We would have like community-wide
Yeah.
garage sales and let just anybody come in. And then we'd have the food trucks and we'd have the games just to help each other out. And I started working with Spectra Care here for their self-harm awareness,
Wow.
which was
Yeah.
becoming huge then among teenagers. And if y'all would like, you can go to noshameintalking.com and see a lot of that. But I didn't realize how widespread it was until I started working with them and really began to know that there's no shame in talking,
Yeah.
that I had much rather somebody come up and talk to me than me find out they're no longer with us.
Yeah.
And I would never judge anybody for the pain that they're going through, whether it's mental, physical, emotional, the S word, SA, and all that. I would never judge anybody for that. And that's the message I am trying to get across. Please don't judge. These people, these friends, these family members are in pain. It may not be pain that you see. It's considered an invisible illness, but it is real. It does not mean it does not exist.
Yeah, 100%. You speak so much truth there. And what I would say as well, when I was suffering badly with my mental health, depression and anxiety and panic attacks, and it's very lonely. It's very lonely, and
Very lonely.
you feel very vulnerable. So the judgment from others, it just makes you feel even worse. It makes you feel even more alone. So all we want is, all I wanted at the time, and people were going for it, is some support and someone to listen to us,
Right.
and someone to speak to and confide in, and where we don't feel ashamed, where we don't feel embarrassed about what we're going through, because it's a natural thing. Everyone has, mental health, has to deal with their mental health. Some have to struggle with it, some don't. So, but it's just different levels of it. But yeah, go on.
It presents itself in all different manners as well. I mean,
Yeah,
some people overeat, some people quit eating, some people can't sleep, some people sleep all day. And there's a whole lot of different ways it presents itself. And teenagers are different from adults
yes,
because they are in a whole different era. They may not want to go to school or participate in sports, or they may cut class, and it's not always that they're being, quote, bad children. It's they are hurting.
Yeah.
And said, hey,
Yeah.
Mike.
Hey.
Um, Elise, yes, DVs are on the rise here too. That's another show we're going to do for another day. Mike's going to do one on his channel, and I'm going to do one here. I mean, we'll collab together, but we're going to do different ones. Angie says, when I'm struggling, I quit eating. So do I.
Really?
I have no desire for food, and
Yeah.
honestly, no desire to cook. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have. Whenever I'm struggling, it's just I just want to go crawl up in a little ball and be
Yeah.
left alone.
Yeah.
And I have learned. I've learned to talk, and that's one thing I thank God for. In my mom's last few years of her life, we became super close, and we could talk about anything. And she had never understood depression. And that was one reason it was so hard for me.
Yeah.
And she never understood depression until her husband died. And she came back, and it was my stepdad. And she apologized to me and apologized because she was in such a deep depression. And you can't hold that against somebody, but with as much education as is out there now, people need to educate themselves. People need to understand people hurt. There's no shame in hurting. There's no shame in getting therapy. It's just no shame in it. And it's okay to not be okay. I heard A22 say that on his channel the other day, is I'm not okay and it's okay not to be okay. And he was 1000% correct.
Yeah. We're not robots. We're human
Right.
beings. We have feelings and emotions. We go through things. We have ups and downs. Our moods, even when we're feeling good, it doesn't always stay at a really positive and I feel on top of the world every day. You still have your down times. It's what it is. It creates, when you get help and you realize, you become aware of your mental well-being and how important it is to you, to us. And you start becoming very self-aware of what triggers you, how to manage your mental health. And and that's the thing, it's about managing it, because at the end of the day, even when you feel like that's it and you've got it, it's constant work. It's never over. You're never done. It's something you always have to stay on top of and try and manage. And sometimes you need to sit with it and just process your feelings and just let it overcome you. But then you realize you then need to get back to things and get on with life. Yeah,
Right.
no, yeah. Natasha's right.
Yes, Natasha, I was going to say that is so correct. And you are right. I mean, normalizing therapy is so very important. I don't care what part of the world you live in. It is so important. And Paranormal Witch, please DM me after this show, because I was wanting to talk to you about some stuff you probably don't want me to mention here. But yes, please DM me after this show, and we will talk then. I'm not going to say any more about that. There have been, like right now, okay, my psychiatrist, I'm an ongoing patient because we have to stay on top of my medicine, because I do have bipolar, and we had to stay on top of it because with the other medications I take for my medical issues, they can counteract each other. So I've got a steady appointment going, but if you were a new patient right now, it may be 2, 3, 4 months before you can get in to see a doctor.
Wow.
That's why
That's a long wait.
That's why the hotlines are so
Yeah,
important.
there you
And
go.
always, if you ever feel that low and you feel like the only option is not being here anymore, dial 911. That's what they're there for. They can get you help immediately, and someone will have to see you right then. And there's no shame in having to have your mental stability controlled with medication either.
There you go.
I fought so hard not to be on an antidepressant because I was ashamed to go pick it up from the pharmacy because I thought, oh, these people are going to look at me crazy and they're going to talk about me when I walk off. But they don't. They don't. They're there to help. They are there to help. Queen, you said something a few minutes ago about, let me see if I can find it. Therapy and Jesus. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. 100%. 100%. Because I stay on my knees as much as I stay on my feet. I'm not going to lie. Without Jesus, you aren't not going to get through it. I'm not going to get through it. That's my belief.
Mm, you need both.
Elise, I love this. I love this. I'm sorry. Even my therapist has a
It's true.
therapist,
It's true.
and mine does too.
Therapists
My,
have to have therapists. That's a part of their training. That's a
yeah,
part of their when they're getting their qualifications and they're trained, they need to have therapy. It's a part of it,
right.
which is
But
great.
you think about how much they hear,
Yeah,
and
it's great.
they have to have help process. Psychologists, psychotherapists, um, counselors, psychiatrists, I don't know if I said that, they deal with so much hurt and so much negativity and so much, they have got to have an escape route too.
Definitely.
And there's no shame in that.
There's definitely no.
Um, yeah, I know I keep saying no shame, but that was drilled into me for so long. And that's the one thing I want to get across. And I was having computer issues before this live started, and I was not able to update my description. As soon as I get off of this video, I will be posting all the helplines, so where you can reach out and get help if you need it. Um, and if there's anything I can do to help you, I am not a doctor. I cannot diagnose you. I cannot recommend medication for you. I will tell you, if you are feeling abnormal, things just aren't right, please go see your doctor, your family doctor, and they can let you know if they think you need to go to a counselor or to a psychiatrist. Let them be the judge of that, because they're the ones that can lead you in the right direction. I'm not here to diagnose, I'm not here to medicate,
Exactly.
I'm not here to give any kind of mental health advice other than get help.
Yeah.
Other than that.
But if you ever want to chat and just talk, my DMs are open.
And mine as well. I mean, I'll talk to you all day long.
You
I
know,
will talk to you.
and just listen. We're good at listening, me and Kim.
Yeah. And if you want to come up and talk now, you're more
Yeah,
than welcome. And
without judgment. This is a safe space on this platform and our platforms. They're always safe spaces, so feel free to come up and talk if you want to chat or just
always
listen.
there's no condemnation, no
Mm,
judgment here. I mean, and I'll lay it out on the table. Like I've said, I have issues. I know I have issues that I have to have help with, and that's okay.
so
It's
do I.
okay not to be okay.
Exactly.
And I could just hug AT2 when he said that. And I'm going to tell you what, if I could just give a blanket hug to everybody and make it better, I would. I wish so deeply that a hug would cure it all, because that would mean so much to me. But that's just not the way the world works. And
Unfortunately not. Yeah.
that's why we have therapy.
Yeah.
I wrote this down so I could, I'll go back in a minute and give general signs of depression, but I want to say this too. Common signs and symptoms of depression in children and teenagers are similar to adults, but there can be some differences. In younger children, symptoms of depression may include sadness, irritability. That is a big one. It's not because they're a bully, but irritability, clinginess, worry, aches and pains on the body. They're focusing their issues elsewhere. Um, Refusing to go to school and being underweight. In teens, symptoms may include sadness, irritability, feeling negative and worthless, and that was always a big one for me. Anger, poor performance, or poor attendance at
Mm.
school, feeling misunderstood and extremely sensitive, using recreational stuff, chemicals, and drinking, eating or sleeping too much, um, thoughts of self harm, loss of interest in normal activities, and avoidance of social interaction. Before I finish, it's High Fields of Grace. I have suffered with depression and anxiety for 20 plus years. It's the constant fight and needs more conversation. Stephanie, you're so right. You are so right. And if I could talk 24/7 on this channel just to get information out there, I would sit here and read books if I thought I could help one person. And that is so important to me, is to help other people. Um, Depression normally starts in your teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, around in there. However, it can happen at any age. It can happen at any. Older adults are most often ignored when they start having aches and pains
Mm.
and don't feel like eating and don't feel like doing this or don't want to socialize anymore. Older adults can be depressed. They need help too. I mean, we need to reach out to them. I mean, if you see a family member, you know, if they won't talk to you, take them to somebody they will talk to. And in general, the general signs of depression would include feelings of sadness, tearfulness, emptiness, and hopelessness, angry outburst, irritability or frustration, even over small matters. And I want to stress that a little bit because I was an angry child. I was mad at the world a lot, and a lot of it was situational. It was a lot of personal issues. And if you followed any of my videos, you know about it, and I'm not getting into it here. But yeah, angry children or depressed children, most likely. Not always, but they can be. Sleep disturbances, insomnia or sleeping too much, reduced or increased appetite, um, anxiety, agitation,
Mm.
restlessness, slowed thinking, speaking, and body movements. And that can be whether you're in school or even if you're trying to read a recipe to cook. I mean, it's just not all working right. And you know, it just feels different.
Yeah.
Unexplained physical problems such as backaches, headaches, feeling worthlessness or guilt, fixating on past failures or self-blame, trouble thinking, concentrating, making decisions, and remembering things. And it can also include thoughts of not wanting to be here anymore, attempts of trying not to be here anymore, and stuff like that. So those are things to look for. Like I said, I will post all of those phone numbers for you, but there's a lot more mental health issues than just depression. I mean, you can have biological problems, brain chemistry, hormones, a lot of different things, medical interactions, inherited traits, very much so. So personality traits, low self-esteem, being too dependent or too independent. So I mean, it's like any end of the spectrum that's not the balance could signify a problem. Could signify a problem. Not that it does, but it could. So,
Definitely.
what are your thoughts, Mike?
It's a lot to it. You mentioned about at school as well. It can start from there, and childhood trauma is a massive thing, isn't it? Childhood
Yes,
trauma experiences as a child we carry with us, and it shows up. It can show up. It can manifest later on in our lives. And kids at school can be cruel. It can be tough
very.
just to fit in and feel a part of something, because that's what we all want as a child, and even as adults. So we want to feel like we're a part of something. We have our own tribe. We have, we're not an outcast.
Right,
We fit in. So a lot of that, it can cause mental health issues and depression and a lack of self-worth and low self-esteem. So it's tough. It's tough, and I just I was. It's horrible that it took something like my father's death to make me realize the importance of mental health. But I'm glad I found out about mental health and my own well-being, because it's definitely, like you said, it's shown you a different world, a new world, a better world, where
good,
we realize how important it is to put ourselves first and do that inner work, work on ourselves first before we can help others. And we because we do that a lot as individuals. We focus on how we can help people, and we so want to help the good people, that is. We so want to help others and support people, but before we do that, we need to support ourselves.
absolutely. Natasha, you're right. Before you came on, we were talking about how malnutrition played a factor in mental health as well. So yes, it does. And on my other channel, Southern Fried and Gluten Free, I am going to, I'll probably post it here too, but definitely there, I am going to break down the vitamins that you need on a daily basis and how to get them and
Yeah, that'd be great.
every, because yeah, malnutrition affects a lot more than just your physical body.
Yeah, there's so much more to it, isn't there? As they say, your diet is not only what you eat.
Right,
There's
right,
so much more. What we watch. Or, there's so much more to it. What we take in, basically.
right,
What we see, what resonates. There's so much. What we read. That it's so much more. There's so much more to good nutrition for ourselves and what's right for our well-being, isn't it? It's
absolutely.
just a
And just as
combination.
little as getting enough water, getting
Yeah,
enough sunshine. I mean, that all factors into it as well too.
going
So,
for a nice walk.
right, get out and just breathe. And we were talking about how we couldn't do that because of the panoramic
Mm,
going on. But even if you just have to make a circle around your house, wear a
yeah,
mask,
that's
make a
true.
circle around your
It's
apartment
true.
complex. I mean,
It's true. Even just a little.
stand outside on your front steps and just
Yeah.
march in place. Anything. Get your body moving and get fresh air. I want to say this before I forget too.
Yeah.
If you kind of wonder, okay, is this a passing thing or whatever? There is a website called mentalhealthscreening.org, and you can go on there and it's got a questionnaire for you to fill out, and you can take it to your doctor and say, okay, look, this is it. And you don't have to, because you're only being honest with yourself at that point. You know, you don't have to hide from anybody. Just answer that, take it to your doctor, and go from there.
Yeah. No, that's really good. Yeah,
But
people need support, and it's great that there's these organizations out there that can give us the support we need.
most of the states, I think, have a Spectra Care
Okay.
in them. And I'm going to post that too. But there's so many numbers to call to reach out for
That's
help.
great. That's great.
And hit the wrong one, Angie. You have to wonder how some people are able to move past issues in their life that would cause depression a lot easier than others that dwell on the issues. That's true.
Yeah, we are all different, though, aren't we? And things affect us differently, and our experiences. And this is what makes us so unique. You know, what might work for me might not work for you, Kim.
Right now, my
Yeah.
sister and I that grew up together, um, we could not be more different. I
Mm,
mean, different as night and day. I mean, we have a similar belief system, but even that's not the same. We were
yeah.
raised in the same house. I mean, she's
Yeah.
only a year older than me. And honestly, standing side by side, you would not know we were sisters.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And even hearing us talk or explain something, it's totally different. So, yeah, people deal with issues a lot differently
Yeah.
than others. And again, that's part of the reason I got into psychology is
Yeah.
because I always have wanted to know why, what makes this work, what makes
Yeah.
this go this way. Um, yeah, if y'all didn't know, Angie is my sister too, and we just met in July.
Wow.
Um, Angie is 6 months older than me. We had the same biological father, and our moms are different. Um, I think our moms would have been a lot alike. Angie still
Mm,
has her mom, and I lost my mom last August.
so-
But Angie and I are so much now putting us side by side, you can see a
Oh,
resemblance.
really?
We are such the three of us. Now, my older sister has not met Angie,
Yeah.
and that's a personal choice that we won't get into right now. But if you put all three of us in a line, you would be able to pick out that Angie and I are sisters.
Wow.
And we have such a similar thought process. Um, it's just amazing. It's like she can be, I can be texting her, typing out a text, and before I can send it, I'm getting one from her. And that I sit back and laugh at that because I've never had that before.
Yeah, that are very
And
like-minded.
yeah, and we have not met yet. She's in Texas, I'm in Alabama.
Wow.
So at the end of this month, we are going to Texas.
Wow, that'd be
So
amazing.
I can't wait. I can't wait. It's just amazing. Thank you, Stephanie. Stephanie says your story is amazing. It's so beautiful that you found
It
each
is.
other. And it really is. It really is because we are all with my older sister and Angie and I are a big testament to the argument of nature versus nurture.
Mm,
Because, like I said, my older sister and I grew up together and with the same, we were in the same household. I mean, my whole life, and I got married at 17.
Mm.
No, I'm lying. I got married at 16. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I got married at 16. So up to that point, we had always lived together.
Yeah.
And no, she was, I'm not going to tell her business. I was in the band. I was a nerd. I wasn't anything. We were so totally. I
Yeah.
do love her. I mean, I do, but we are so totally different. And then, I mean, I was sitting there on the computer one day, actually preparing for a show, and you know how many notes I sent you for
Yeah.
what I was looking at. I do that with all of them, all of
That's
my
really good,
shows.
though.
But thank you. I don't want to be caught off guard,
That's thorough.
and I just don't like to. That's just who I am. Again, that goes back to why, how, what. That's me.
Mm.
But I was sitting there, and I'm not on Facebook a lot anymore. I'm on YouTube quite a bit, and I'm on Instagram quite a bit, but that all ties together. And I got a
Yeah.
message from somebody from Facebook asking me how I fit into um, the family. And I'm like, who is this? Because that name hasn't, my biological father's name hadn't come up in a long time. And she said, is this your father? And I'm like, who are you? And she said, if this is your father, I'm your cousin. I said, okay. Yes, that's my father. She said, well, your sister's on Facebook too. And I'm thinking, okay, my older sister, yes, she's on Facebook. I know that. Whatever. And she said, no, your other sister, which also happens to be my older sister. It's a
Sister.
long story, but it was the sister I grew up with was
Yeah.
born. Exactly 9 months later, Angie was
Wow.
born. And 6 months later, I was born. So, yeah, it's a mess. But you know what? That, that was a sperm donor for both of us. And because of his actions, we both have wonderful sisters. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
I'm happy. It turned out good. Our moms both ended up happy, and that's all that matters. And we have each other.
Exactly. There you go.
Yep. So yeah, but I that was part not knowing him and feeling abandoned was part of my depression
Mm.
growing up, and nobody seemed to understand that. And yeah, I was told I was a lot like him, but then again, I only heard negative things about
Wow.
him. So
Yeah.
I was kind of like, okay, well, if he's bad and I'm like him, then I'm bad,
Bad. Yep.
so, but yeah, be careful what you say to your kids. You never know how they're
Yeah,
taking it.
yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? And when we do that episode of emotional intelligence,
I'm
um,
looking so forward to that. Y'all, we'll do that next week. Y'all click the like button and then go up there. No, click the like, yes, of course, but click subscribe, go up to the bell, click on all notifications so you'll be notified of our show. I know I'm having one next week, one or two next week, and we're going to do a show on emotional intelligence, and I cannot wait for that. October is also Emotional Intelligence Month.
wow.
So I'm really excited about that one. I'm gonna really dig in. He just thought he got some notes this time, but anybody's always welcome to join us if you have any thought ideas for any shows. All you have to do is just DM me. I'm on Instagram at Fields of Grace 101. I'm on here at Fields of Grace 101. You can get my cooking channel on
Mm.
Instagram. It's at Southern Fried and Gluten Free. On YouTube, it's Southern Fried and Gluten Free. I don't deviate much. But you can get me anywhere on there. You can always DM me. I always answer my DMs. Always. Mike, where can everybody find you? Give all of them because I know you've got quite a few places too.
That I actually use now is at one mic. One mic's keeping it real on Instagram.
And that's spelled out, right?
Yeah,
O-N-E.
yeah. SONE. Check me out on YouTube, the King's Forum podcast show, all about mental health and mindset, hot topics as well. Platform to help spread awareness and just to, if I can help others out there, and try and do some good in the world, and put out content that's going to make a difference. So yeah, that's what I'm all about. Even on my Instagram as well, I try and put out, spread positivity and love.
And you do. Every morning I get up and I have good morning from Mike, and I say, yeah, that brings a smile to my face. Y'all, next week, for personal reasons, I'm not gonna do a total tell-all DV show on my channel. However, I will be doing one with facts, stats, and information on getting help. However, we're going to do a deep dive on Mike's channel. So subscribe to him. Like he's on, yeah, I will have all of his contact information in the description whenever I get it updated as well. Like, subscribe, share, click on the notifications on
Please
his
do.
channel. And he's braver than I am about what to say. And I'm
Really?
just I've gotten scared because I've watched people's channels be snatched on YouTube a lot, and Mike gets away with it. Don't
So
get it.
far, because maybe it's because it's not big enough yet.
Well, I'm very, very little, so maybe that's why they haven't paid attention to me. My goal right now is 500, and I'm working my way. I'm inching my way there. So y'all spread this, share it, have your friends subscribe. 500 is my goal right now. So you see, I am very little. Other than that, Mike, can you think of anything we didn't cover?
No. He was very, very in depth there, and we hit the key things. And all I would say is, if you're struggling, speak to someone. Speak up. That was the first thing I did when I was struggling and having depression. I spoke to someone, and it was like a weight off my shoulders. I know it's difficult because sometimes we don't have that someone to talk to. So if not, like Kim said, there's these helplines to call. So if you don't have someone you can speak to in your immediate circle, then there's these helplines to call as well. So please don't suffer in silence. It's tough. You feel alone and you feel very vulnerable. You feel embarrassed and you feel shame at times. You can do, like I did and Kim did, but we reached out. We got help. And it's definitely made a massive difference in me and Kim's lives, and helped us. And the work we do on our channels and our Instagrams is to spread light and love and light, and help others as much as we can. That's why we cover these topics. It's to help others. It's not for our own for our own enjoyment or whatever. Yes, we like that we can help, so it does make us feel happy, but it's more so to help others and help spread awareness and try and do some good in this world and spread positivity. So please speak up, please make that first call. And that's I know it's the big leap and it can be very difficult, but that once you get that out of the way and you actually have that conversation, my mum used to always say, a problem shared is a problem halved. And you do feel that. It's funny enough, I remember thinking that when I first spoke to my younger brother's a psychologist. When I spoke to him about all the problems I was having, the relief, the weight off my shoulders that felt, that I could just have someone to talk to. And so that's all I would say about that. Get help, have that conversation, get therapy if you can, speak to someone. That's the first steps. To the light, from the darkness, because it can feel dark and lonely.
Absolutely. Elise, I love you so much. And yes, you can DM me anytime. I wish that you were in the States And I'm not going to give your location, but I
Yeah.
wish you were so I could help you more. And paranormal witch, I do have somebody in your state I can talk to, and I am definitely going to talk to her after this show to see if I can help you a little bit more. Um,
That's
and if
great.
anybody else has any questions, concerns, comments, again, please, please, please talk to
Mm.
someone. Please talk to someone. There's no shame in talking.
None at all.
That, and please don't be embarrassed. If you broke your arm, you would go get it set
Yep.
and you would have a cast put on it. And if you were in pain, the doctor's probably going to give you some pain medicine for it. If you fall and break your leg, you're going to the doctor and not be ashamed. Your mind is just another part of your body.
There you go.
And anything can happen. Chemical and situational depression. I'm going to take my doctor, because of my history, did very well. And like I said, my mom and I had the same psychiatrist. He was very attentive and there, even if it was just a quick call to see if I was okay after my mom passed, because the risk of the depression was so high to fall down so hard. And now I still can sit and cry in his office and it's okay. You know, I just have to get it out somehow without bothering anybody else. And but please know, if you want to talk to me, you can. I will help you find help. I will do anything I can possibly do for you. I cannot diagnose you, and I cannot be a substitute for a psychiatrist or a therapist for you. If you want to contact Mike, if you feel more comfortable talking to a man, contact him. He'll do the
Definitely.
same. I mean, he's got a heart big as the world, too.
Oh, thank you.
And there's a lot of people you can reach out and talk to. Don't isolate yourself.
Definitely
Please
don't.
don't. And I think that's about it. Also, I'm gonna put this in the description, but there are numbers, not only hotline numbers and all, but there's text. You can text. I'll put it in there. I can't remember what it was that you text. NAMI, I think, National Alliance of Mental Institute. But you can text them for help. I'll put it in there, and then you don't even have to worry about talking.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can go back. Stephanie says it's just like diabetes. You can't force your body to make insulin. That's right. You can't force your brain to make whatever chemical it needs to process things. That's not your fault. And that's
100%.
what I was saying earlier with me having celiac disease. My body does not produce serotonin, and serotonin is your mood regulator.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not your fault.
No.
It's not your fault. And there's no shame in talking. And if you don't have anything else to say, Mike, I think I have covered what I
No,
had written
definitely.
down.
I'd just like to say this was great and thank you for inviting me on the show. And everyone in the chat and watching the show, we appreciate you. And
And
even
thank you.
if no, you're welcome. If you know of someone that needs help, just check in on people, because I know sometimes I have friends who don't want to talk, who don't want to share what they're going through, but just checking up on them and ask them whether they're all right is sometimes enough.
That's right. That can lead in. You
Mm,
don't know how many. Are you okay? You know,
yeah,
are you okay today?
yeah,
How's it going? That little bit opens the door for them to do anything, to say anything that might need help. And
yeah,
you can pick up on it. You can pick up, okay, I'm not leaving this person right now. I'm not leaving
yeah,
this person alone. They're either coming home with me or I'm taking
yep,
them to the hospital or something. But you can pick up on that a lot.
yeah,
And And I encourage you to, if you hadn't heard from a friend in a while, reach out today, text them,
That's what I
call
do. I
them.
do all
You
the
all
time.
right? How's it going?
Yeah.
You know, you're welcome, Elisa. I appreciate you being here. Natasha, Paranormal, Angie, AT2. I love all of y'all, and I thank y'all so much for spending your time with us. And we'll do
Love,
this again next week. And I
love and
love
light,
you
everyone.
guys. And
Peace.
hang around just a minute, Mike.
Yeah, no problem.
Y'all have a good afternoon. Thank you.
Peace.
Well, it doesn't want to end.